Have you ever noticed that no matter how much your life changes, you somehow keep ending up in this same emotional place? Different people, different circumstances, different seasons of life, yet somehow the feeling is familiar. The same anxiety, the same heaviness, the self-doubt, the same feeling of not being enough. Why? What if those experiences aren't separate problems at all? What if they're just clues? Clues pointing towards something larger. You just haven't been able to see it yet. Most of us spend years focusing on individual experiences, the anxiety, the overwhelm, the people-pleasing, the shut down, the self-doubt, and because we experience them separately, we assume they are separate. But what if they're all connected? What if they're all trying to tell the same story? Imagine someone handed you a clue, then another, then another. By themselves, they don't tell you much. They seem unrelated, maybe even random, but eventually enough clues begin to accumulate that you realize they're connected. Now, they're no longer just clues. They're pieces of a larger picture. And once enough pieces come together, like a puzzle, the picture begins to emerge. Emotional experiences often work the same way. Anxiety may be one clue, people-pleasing another, overwhelm and shut down may point in a similar direction. Self-doubt may be showing you a different path. None of those experiences tell the whole story by themselves. They're pieces of something greater. When you only focus on the individual piece, life feels confusing. But when you begin connecting them, understanding starts to emerge. You weren't born believing you weren't enough. You weren't born believing you had to keep everyone happy. You weren't born believing you had to overthink every conversation or afraid of disappointing other people. So where did those patterns come from anyway? And why do they keep showing up? That's where observation becomes more important than judgment, because the goal isn't to immediately fix the experience. The goal is to understand what it might be trying to show you. You can probably describe your emotional experiences. You know when you're anxious, you know when you're overwhelmed, and you know when you're frustrated or hurt. But can you describe what happened right before the emotion took over? Can you describe how your body responded first? Could you describe that situation that consistently seems to wake those feelings up inside you? Most of us notice the emotion. What we don't notice is the pattern. And when we can't see that pattern, the emotion feels random. But what if it's not random? What if it's been following the same path all along? Your nervous system is constantly looking for familiarity. Not danger, just something familiar. It is always asking, have I experienced something like this before? And if the answer is yes, it reacts. Sometimes before you consciously are aware of it, which means many emotional reactions that seem out of nowhere really aren't. Your system recognizes something, a tone, a look, a dynamic, a situation maybe, a familiar experience, and it responds. Not because you are broken, not because you are weak, but because you're overly emotional. No, not because you're overly emotional, but because your nervous system recognized a pattern. Imagine for a moment you repeatedly find yourself feeling small. One day it happens at work, another day it happens with family, and a few weeks later it happens with a friend. Different people, different situations, same emotional experience. And at first it may feel random, like a collection of separate problems. But then you begin paying a little bit of attention. You notice that every time someone becomes dismissive, or critical, or controlling, maybe even emotionally unavailable, that same feeling appears. The people were different. The pattern wasn't. Suddenly, another piece of your puzzle clicks into place. What looks like separate experiences were actually clues pointing toward the same picture. This is important. Seeing a pattern is not the same thing as blaming yourself. Patterns are not character flaws. Patterns are adaptations. They are things that your nervous system learned while trying to help you navigate experiences. The goal isn't judgment. The goal is simply observation. You can't work on something you cannot see. This is why observation is so important. When a pattern is invisible, it runs automatically. The same response, the same reaction, the same emotional destination, over and over again. But the moment you recognize, wait a second, I know this, I've been here before, a gap appears, a small place between the trigger and the response. And that space changes everything. Observation begins because now you have space for it. This is where regulation begins in your body. That's where the new choices have opportunity to begin. Before we finish, I'd like to give you a simple practice, because understanding a pattern and observing a pattern are two completely different things. If you use essential oils, this may be a wonderful time to apply that oil as we move forward. It's going to help you stay grounded, present, and observant. I'm choosing today Sacred Frankincense, but other good ones are Frankincense and Stress Away. Whatever feels supportive to you today. As you breathe those in, apply the oil and set the intention. I'm willing to see what I could not see before. Take another slow breath. Maybe apply those oils to your temples. Allow yourself to settle. There's nothing to fix, nothing to force, and nothing to solve. Just notice. Is there an emotional experience that seems familiar? Is there something that keeps coming up? Is it anxiety, overwhelm, people-pleasing, maybe self-doubt or frustration? Whatever it is, simply just bring it to your mind. Now ask yourself, what has this experience been trying to show me? Notice what happens in your body. Notice any recurrent situations. Notice any recurring theme or particular dynamic. There's no judgment, no pressure. We're just observing. You're not gathering evidence that something is wrong with you. We are gathering clues. Take another slow breath. Together, we are going to acknowledge something important. Your body has been trying to help you, even when the response felt frustrating, even when the pattern felt limiting, even when you really didn't understand it. Your body has been doing its best to protect you with the information it had available at that time. Let's just take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for helping me navigate experiences that I didn't yet understand. Thank you for carrying me through this. And now we're giving ourselves permission. And I remind myself, I am no longer required to remain the same in order to remain safe. I give my body permission to notice patterns it could not see before. I give my mind permission to recognize new possibilities. And I give myself permission to learn, to grow, and to understand. As you continue breathing, ask yourself, what opportunities become available to me once I begin noticing these patterns? What choices become available? What freedom becomes available? What becomes possible when I can see the entire picture clearly? I release anything that no longer serving me. I release anything that no longer supports my growth. I welcome new understanding, new choices, new opportunities, and the freedom to change. This big picture we're creating, with all the puzzle pieces that we're collecting, doesn't have to be finished today. It might not even need all the pieces for us to gain clarity of what the picture is, to find the relief that's needed. One clue, one piece, one new observation can be enough, because the clues become pieces and the pieces become the picture. And the picture becomes that understanding that our body and our mind need to find the closure. You don't have to solve everything today. Just stay curious, because emotional confusion often is not chaos. It's a picture that fully hasn't come into your focus. And once the picture becomes clear, you finally have a map. And once you have that map, you can go somewhere new. If you would like to keep learning with me, I would love for you to go to my bio and select the 3 free clearing practices and subscribe.